become successful, you have to face what is uncomfortable. And doing those things that are uncomfortable will fast forward your journey to success tenfold. And I feel like I've been on the journey of wanting to figure out how to actively change my lifestyle so that I can be completely self-employed, so that I can travel, so that I can just live the life that I truly want to without being in the restrictions of a 9 to 5, for example. That doesn't mean I never want to work. I do want to work. I have quite great ambitions of what I want to do for work. But with that, I need to be able to face what I find uncomfortable. And I think that, I don't know if I can define it as ignorance, but there was definitely a part of me that was not doing that for a long time. And as much as I'd like to ignore it, it did basically waste a lot of time. So long story short, when I actually faced the uncomfortable truth of business, then I actually managed to get a sale, because I cold called, and eventually those cold calls led to a close. A close, if you don't know, is essentially just I sold a product to someone. And I've done that before. I have done that before, but not to this level. And that only happened because I actually faced the reality of the real true thing that I needed to do in that moment of time, which was cold calling and basically getting clients into the door of your product. It wasn't even the main product that I was selling. I'm just utilizing the skill set that I have. I'm utilizing the skill set that I had to acquire in order to build my own business and in order to build my own structures, essentially. I'm still focused on something else. I'm building out another pipeline that is a higher ticket sale, but I'm going to keep this one as a lower ticket sale, and I'm going to use it as a way to just improve my confidence, improve my conversations, because I realized that cold calling, that's legit the thing that is going to send me forward on my journey. And I think I knew that in the back of my mind in the past. I knew that sales was something that I had to learn. But because I was so focused on building, on trying to connect with people via LinkedIn, via even going to these hackathons. I've only went to one hackathon, or going to networking events that just didn't actually move the needle in my favor. And I was keeping myself busy. I was keeping my mind occupied and myself busy. And I realized that now, because it was comforting to me to keep myself busy and to convince myself that I was doing the right things, but in reality I wasn't. And now that I am doing the right thing, then I feel so much more confident, and almost why didn't I start this sooner? But it's okay, because I'm not going to think like that, just because if I think like that, that's not going to move the needle in my favor. I should only spend my time, spend my energy doing the things that I know will allow me to become the person that I truly want to. And that person was already existent within myself. I am already that person. I just need to then activate the skills and use the skills that are already inherent within me to actualize my fullest potential. And the way that you do that is by doing what's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to go to the gym. Progressive overload is uncomfortable. Training till failure is uncomfortable. Cold calling is uncomfortable. Not using your phone to doom scroll is uncomfortable, because it's comfortable to be comfortable. It's comforting to do something that is comforting. But I'm not saying that you need to live a life of hell, but you need to achieve a good balance of doing things that are uncomfortable, because we live in a life where everything is so precisely engineered to keep you comfortable and to keep you occupied. to keep your mind occupied doing something that doesn't matter in the slightest. There's so many things that have been engineered to keep you in the same position that you are. But the thing is with us, and the difference between us and a tree, is that a tree can't move, right? So don't be a tree. Don't be just like someone who just doesn't allow any growth, any movement. I'm not saying that you can't get a 9 to 5, but don't allow that 9 to 5 to actually dominate your life and to dominate your dreams and ambitions. Like, allow yourself to actually face the truths and think about the movements that you can actually do right here, right now, that's going to push you forward in your journey. You could try start a business, you could try do X, you could try do Y, but you can try do all of these things while still ignoring the thing that is existent in your mind that will be able to push you forward, make you move a step forward. And now that I've began to execute this philosophy, I actually realized that I have a lot of skills that I've been building up over the past few years, that now that I've come to this position now, I feel like a powerhouse. I feel like the mitochondria of the cell, because I've faced so many of those truths. I've upskilled in so many capacities, and even when I was ignoring the thing that I had to do, I was still developing a part of myself that is now really useful. That's now really useful right here, right now. And I'm not saying that you should now use that as an excuse to go do all of these other things. I'm just saying that because I was at least convinced of the mission, at least I was convinced that building my life, that everything I did then still allowed me to move with more confidence in the position that I'm in now. It still built the skill set that I'm using now. So you got to do what's uncomfortable. I'm going to say that so many times. I've said that so many times in the video, but that is the key. Like, I've probably got like 15 people watching this. It is truly, it's so simple, but the reason why it's not simple to execute is because we are in the mindset of the comfortable. We are in the mindset of wanting to be comfortable. We just want to sit down and not do anything. Even if you do go gym, you might not be pushing yourself to a place where you're actually growing. You're just going to the gym for the idea of going to the gym, not for the actual pain and gain of going to the gym. We're all just doing things that convinces our ego that we're doing the right thing, but are we actually doing the right thing? How convinced are you that you're 100% doing the right thing? And I'm not saying that there is one specific thing that is the right thing, but what do you personally need? What do you personally need to do right here, right now, that is going to help push your life forward and to upgrade yourself? Is there trauma that you need to face? Is there a relationship that you need to heal? Is there a part of yourself that you need to draw attention to? Because there's actual levels to this. You can't start a business if you still have your deep, darkest traumas to face. You can't start a business if you still have problems with sustaining a decent relationship with anyone. I'm not talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about all sorts of relationships. You can't do these things unless you've built a proper standard baseline of a personality and of a skill set, I think. And I think that if you did start to become entrepreneurial, that you would realize that you do need a skill set. And that's uncomfortable. Realizing that is uncomfortable. Coming up to looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, shit, I might not be cut out for this, is uncomfortable. But you know what else is uncomfortable? Talking to yourself and saying, oh shit, I actually might be cut out for this. There's so many different perspectives to it, and there's so many things that you can do that is eventually going to add 1%, that's eventually going to add 10%, that's going to add 50% of an upgrade to your previous way of thinking. Over the past 10 years, I think I've 100x'd how much I can make using my own offer using my own brain, using my own sort of strategy. So I mean, I've 100x'd, and that's just like a random, well, not completely random, there's probably an actual number there, but just roughly, I've probably more than 100x'd. I've probably 1000x how much I made when I was like 15, 14. So in the past 12 years, I've probably like 1000x how much I made then, using something that I have personally acquired and then given to someone else for X amount of money. And that's just through repeating the process of figuring out how to refine how to do that. Like, I had a fashion business like 3-4 years ago, and then I realized, actually, thinking over a long term, this business does not allow me to have the freedom that I want. Essentially, what I used to do was I used to paint on clothes and then sell them as like pieces of art and wearable art and all of that sort of good stuff. And then I realized, you know what, this is too physical for me. Like, I have to have a paintbrush and paint tools and ink and all of these things, like the physical clothes. Then I have to ship it, I have to do this, I have to do that, and like I can only sell one garment at a time. I'm not going to bulk create them because I'm physically the one painting it. And then I just had to make the hard decision to be able to move on. I had to look at myself in the mirror and just ask myself, is this going to help me? Is this genuinely going to help me achieve the life that I want to? No. And then I moved on. I moved on to building a whole new skill set, and a skill set that I'm using now. I've started to build that skill set since last January, I think. So it's been about maybe like a year and a half, roughly. And I'm now executing that skill set. And I've made probably more. I think I've made more. And I spent about 3 years creating that fashion business, and I made more in a year and a half. And actually, if I face uncomfortable truth of let's say sales in my current skill set, which is just more like a software based, like a coding based skill set, if I face the uncomfortable truth of sales and actively putting myself out there for sales, like a year ago, I would be so up. But I didn't, and I have now. I'm also up. So it's just about figuring it out, my guys. Like, you just got to figure out what is going to be the best movement, and no matter how uncomfortable that movement is, you got to be able to do it. I'm not saying that you need to chuck yourself into the flames of hell. No, that's not it at all. I'm saying that like there are these like uncomfortable ideas that are just so much more uncomfortable in our minds, but in actuality, like cold calling is just speaking to someone else on the phone and catching a vibe and saying, oh, I have this product. Would you like this product? Is this something that would be useful to you? If not, okay, so why isn't that useful to you? If it is, oh, great, I could potentially help you with that. Bish bash bosh, like that cold calling is as simple as that. And I know, like, you can put it into this like whole thing about it not being that simple, but in actuality, that's all it is. And it's just about doing that in numbers. And there's a million one ways to do that. There's a million one strategies on cold calling, like the best opener and XYZ. But I actually think, through my experience of doing it, from my limited experience of doing it, you just got to be yourself. You just got to be yourself, and then through there, even if you aren't the best person in the world at doing that, then you will be able to learn what the best way is of doing that for yourself, the most natural way of doing it for yourself, essentially. But the only way you can do that is if you first face the uncomfortable truth of what you need to do now to get you to that next step. You just need to get yourself to that next step. And then from there, do the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. And then eventually, you'll be at the top of the staircase. You'll be at the top of it. Like, you can't just work on this first level and then just stay there. No, you need to figure out how do I get there? And what do I need to build to get there? And there, and there, and there. And eventually, you'll be at the top of the building. And then you'll be thinking about, how do I move out of this building? How do I build a new building? How do I build a new staircase? But first you need to face what's uncomfortable and do it. Because without that, you're going to be stagnant. God bless and have a lovely day.